Welcome back. So still on trigonometry. Now we are still on trigonometry identities. Well, now we are going to the second proving. Now it says prove that cosine square theta is equals to 1 plus cot square theta. Now we have to prove that cosine square theta is equals to 1 plus cos square theta. Now this is the second trigonometry identities. So please put it in your head. This is the second trigonometry identity. Now how do we prove this guy? Now recall. Let's recall from sin square theta, which is the first trigonometry identity, plus cos square theta, which says is equals to 1, right? Now, from this guy, sin square theta plus cos square theta is equals to 1. Now, divide through by sin square theta. Divide all through by what? By sin square theta. Now, when we divide everything here by sin square theta, now that will give us sin square theta over what? Sin square theta. Then we have plus cos square theta over sin square theta. Then we have equals to 1 over sin square theta. So recall that sin square theta plus cos square theta is equals to 1, right? So we have to divide through by sin square theta. So we divide by sin square theta, and also by sin square theta. Now here will give us 1 plus here will be cos square theta over sin square theta, right? Then equals to 1 over sin square theta, right? Then you recall again. You see that every recall works together. So if you don't know those formulas in your head, you will not be able to solve questions. So please try and know those formulas. Now, recall that another way to write cot theta, like I gave you in the first video. If you don't understand what we want to write here, make sure you click on the playlist below this video. You will see the list of videos we made on trigonometry. Then it will take you to the first video, then the second video, and so on. So make sure you watch those videos so that you understand better. Now recall that cot theta. Another way to write cot theta is what? Is cos theta over sin theta, right? Another way to write cot theta is equals to what? Cos theta over sin theta. So meaning that if I have cot square theta, here another way to write cot theta is cos theta over sin theta. Meaning if I have cot square theta, another way to write cos square theta will be what? Will not be cos square theta over sin square theta. Do you understand? It's not hard. So please take note of that. Now let's go again. You have to recall another thing. Another way to write cosec theta. Another way to write cosec theta is what? 1 over sin theta, right? Another way to write cosec theta is 1 over sin theta. Meaning if I have cosec square theta, another way to write cosec square theta will now be what? 1 over sin square theta. You understand? If you say 1 square is still 1. So that will be 1 over sin square theta. Now let's come back here. So what are we going to have? We're going to have 1 plus. Now this cos square theta over sin square theta now has become what? Cot square theta. Now equals 1 over sin square theta has become what? Cosec square theta. You get? So therefore, the trigonometry identity, if you are to write it, let's just rewrite it. That will be cosec square theta is equals to 1 plus cot square theta. And that's how we prove it. You see it? So please take note of this. And now let's make this is just the equation we want to just derive. This is the second trigonometry identity. From here now, if we are to make cot square theta the solve formula, cot square theta, if you have to make it the solve formula, if you have to make this, what will you do? You take this one here. That will be equals to what? Cosec square theta minus 1, right? That will be cosec square theta minus 1. And also, if you have to make 1 the solve formula, we can also say 1 will be equals to what? Cosec square theta. When this one cross, that will be minus cot square theta. But you don't actually need to know this remaining two. Once you know this one, you can get this. So you get. So this is just the major one we actually need. So I'm just writing it that okay. Another, if you have to write cot square theta now, to make cot square theta the solve formula, that will be cosec square theta minus 1. And if you have to make 1 the solve formula, that will be cosec square theta minus cot square theta. Do you understand? So just know this one. Once you know this one, you can get the remaining one from it. Do you understand? Please do well to like this video and share this video. Thank you.